Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to a bonus Growth and Grace episode this week. I just got off a phone call and wanted to share with you guys the wins because it's totally something that a while back would have taken me out and had me so frustrated and so irritated, and it would have had me like spinning and just not moving forward. So here's the thing. I have my bank that I like. They do a great job. And there was a mistake that was made and it impacted some of different things. And so I ended up needing to call in to get these things addressed. Or like not huge things, but enough that it was worth my time to call them and be like, hey, yo, let's get this figured out. And the first person I spoke with, very nice, although entry level. And there's like limits on what they can actually do for you on the phone. Like there's not a lot of movement. They don't have a lot of wiggle room. They kind of can just do basic stuff. And this was like beyond basic stuff. So we're talking for a little bit. She's super friendly, but she's not really able to help. And the whole time I was addressing like, hey, here's what happened, but like, what's a solution? Like, what can we look to? Is this an option? Can we do this? Can we look at this opportunity? What can we do to move this forward so we're not just stuck with what happened, because that's not how it should have happened. And again, super nice, but not able to do much. But we focused on the solution. And the question I kept asking was, who can I speak with who can help move this forward? Like, is there someone else who's able to sort of move those things around? And so she goes and she gets her supervisor, standard procedure, right? And the supervisor, one thing that they did really well, and this is something just for anyone, if you're in customer service, it was so nice. She briefed her supervisor before she looped him into our call. And she like stayed on the line to make sure that we connected before she hopped off the call. And she actually did a good job briefing him. Like she briefed him on the entirety of the scenario and both sides of the scenario in a really realistic way. And it was so good. So I didn't have to repeat myself and tell the whole story. He came on and he was like, okay, here's what I understand is going on. Here's what I understand is your solution to it. Like, let's look at what we can do. Like, this is great, like excellent customer service, and you're friendly and you're handling someone who's like wanting to fix a problem that was not that someone's fault. So that's always, it's kind of not always easy to hear someone saying, hey, here's something that you did that didn't go well. Let's have you fix it. Not always easy to receive that. I'm sure they're used to it in their line of work, but I was being nice about it. They were being nice about it anyway. And again, we went through the whole, like, here's the blanket options that we can do, like the cookie cutter options. I'm like, okay, well, those are not options that I want to move forward with. Like none of those work for me. None of those are incentivizing me to want to maintain this. So let's look at other things. Like, what else can we do? Who else can we loop into the conversation? Like, what are our other options? And it's one of those, it's not like selling, like just assume the close, but there are always other options. And this is something I've been having conversations with around recently with a few colleagues of solutions and how there are always multiple solutions. And just because you don't like the solutions that are available doesn't disqualify them as solutions. It simply means you don't like them, right? That took me a long time to learn that one, but now I've got it. And so I'm just assuming like, well, clearly there are other options. You're listing these ones that are sort of the check mark. Here's the basic ones to offer in this, scenario A. But I don't like those. So like, what are our other options? So just continuing to ask that question and explore it from that curious standpoint instead of the blaming or the, man, this is such a problem and I'm so irritated, frustrated standpoint that old me totally would have sunk into. When you come at it from the problem solving standpoint and the solution oriented standpoint, I'm telling you, things shift so dramatically. So he, without saying, yes, 100% we can do what you're asking us to do, he like kept moving things through to the next level and eventually connects me to someone else who's at the spot where they're connecting with the executives to make decisions that will actually impact the scenario, right? And actually be in alignment with the direction that I'm wanting this to go. And so I'm having a conversation now with this third person. And again, they did an excellent job briefing before this third person got on the phone. So when they got on the phone, they could jump right into service. So again, if you're in customer service, that's huge from a client standpoint. That's an amazing experience to not have to continually repeat, like, I already answered this question, I already gave you all this information. It was just a streamlined transition between, you know, each person. So this last person I'm speaking to moved things through and got things into the hands of the right people. And this is all within, I mean, it's probably like a 20, 25-minute phone conversation total. Not my favorite way to spend time, but at the same time, it's moving things forward and it's getting things into action that are going to get things back to where I want to see them based on what happened that shouldn't have happened, right? So I just want to encourage you that if you're in a scenario where things are like, oh, this is not how I wanted this to happen, or wow, that's not how that should have happened, like that's not how that should have gone down. Approach it, actually address it head on. Like old me would have just said, oh, either this isn't worth it and fine, I'll just be annoyed and frustrated and irritated, but I'm not gonna address it and I'll just let it slide. Like old me would have done that. Or old me would have addressed it and immediately gotten so frustrated and worked up and like just given up after the first conversation because she wasn't able to do anything. And so I'm calling in and you're telling me you can't do anything. Like, what is the point of having this customer service if you can't serve your customer? Like that would have been my old approach. So it's super refreshing to come at it from the solution-oriented approach where you're consistently guiding the people on the other end of the phone towards the solution that you want. And they can always, at the end of the day, they could come back to me and say, we can't do that, that we're not willing to do that. That's not something that we're going to do. Okay, we can still find another solution, right? Like there still are other options, even though I don't like the other options, there are other options. Or they might come back with something that's not what I was originally thinking, but it might still be like, okay, yeah, I could do that. That works. You know, you don't always know all of the solutions, but you can certainly explore and come at it from that space of, there are different options here that I can look at. And it's taking that stand for yourself, right? Like there's no one else here who's going to manage my bank accounts and manage my finances and make those phone calls for me. Like it's me. So I get to handle that and I get to have those conversations, even if they feel uncomfortable or like I shouldn't have to be having this conversation because they shouldn't have made a mistake in the first place. Like I should be able to just, you know, have everything automated and know that it's working. But it doesn't always, right? Technology glitches, there's all sorts of things. So sometimes you have to have uncomfortable conversations, but staying in it, remaining patient, remaining calm. There was no raising of voices, there was no yelling, there was no blaming the other person, like really taking responsibility and recognizing where it's not them, like the person on the other end of the phone who picked up to help me did not cause this problem. It wasn't them. So why am I taking it out on them? That's not helping anybody. Then I feel like a jerk and they feel like, what the heck? Like, I didn't even do this and you're yelling at me. It's like the kind of days that make people want to quit customer service, and we've all had them. So I don't want to be that customer. So coming at it from a place of patience and calm and just maintaining that solution-oriented approach of, okay, cool, I totally understand that. I super respect that's the process you guys have. What can we do? Like, what else can we explore? Who else can we loop into the conversation to create forward movement? Because that's not going to work. Like, that's not an appealing option to me. And I want to look at other things. Like, I want to maintain business with you. So this is what it could look like. And presenting ideas, presenting solutions, and then allowing that back and forth kind of soundboarding, if you will, bouncing ideas off of each other of like, hey, you know, could we even do that? Like, is that even an option? Or who could we bring in that could help us move this opportunity forward? I like the sound of this approach. Like, let's try it. And just continually coming from that curious standpoint. Like, curiosity can be so powerful when there's action following it. And oftentimes we're the ones that need to lead into that curiosity. We're the ones that need to say, okay, so what can that look like? What could that be? What is that opportunity? Like, what is another solution? What can we explore? What can we do? And coming at it from a we standpoint, right? So it's team, it's not them, it's not what can you do to fix this? It's okay, what can we do to move this forward? Like, it's the same end goal, Very different approaches. So it's using words that help the other person know that you're with them and you're for them, and that you're in this to help create that solution, and you're not just putting it on their plate to say, okay, you deal with it, call me when it's fixed. It's, okay, what can we do? Like, who do I need to speak with? Who can we loop into this to help move it forward? And acknowledging their position in this, that just because they're in a position that is limited by processes and by, like, corporate America, cookie cutter stuff, doesn't mean that they're not a helpful person, or that they're not a good person, or that they're not a great customer service rep. It just means they're limited and they're doing what they can do. And in order to keep things moving forward, let's use their momentum that they helped create and bring in someone else who can help take it even, to the next level that they just don't have access to through no fault of their own. So it's empowering the other person to help you move things forward. So I'm sharing that because even though the official response to my inquiry is not back yet with 100% stamp of approval, like, yeah, we're moving forward with it, it feels so good to get off the phone knowing that so much action was accomplished in such a short amount of time, and that each person I spoke with felt like we each felt good when we got off the line, knowing that things had moved forward in an appropriate way and in a helpful way, and that things are really, like, actions being taken to move this forward into completion and into it being really handled in a way that leaves me as a happy customer and leaves them feeling like they also win, because we're not trying to screw the other person over. We want it to be a win-win. So anyway, sharing that while it's fresh and trusting that it inspires you to show up with a new level of patience and a new level of exploration and curiosity of, like, what could this look like? I wonder what kind of solution we could come up with if we put our heads together, and approaching conversations with people from that space of collaboration and exploration, and knowing that two heads are better than one, and that, you can fuel each other and help feed off each other and, like, discover things together that you would not have been able to reach on your own. So loop other people in, ask for support when you need it, have the difficult conversation, and allow yourself to stick with it, even when it can feel like, oh, I want to be done with this. You're never really going to be fully, completely done with it until you've handled it. So quitting partway through is not being done with it. It's quitting partway through, and there's still things left to be handled. So, so don't quit, and show up with a curious, mindset, and a collaboration mindset, and a solution-oriented mindset, and the world is your oyster. Okay, with that, from our little bonus, Growth and Grace, I'll see you guys on Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, for our regularly scheduled Growth and Grace, and topic to be determined for that one. I've got a few things brewing. We're going to see what's fresh and exciting, and then I'll let you know. All right, I'll see you soon. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.